Hi, I'm Evan Pantazi. Today I wanted to talk about karate or karate again. Now, I've mentioned this in the past, how they changed the term of karate, the China hand, to karate, the empty hand. What they did was they took away the Kyusho. They muted the weapons. They took the China hand and they closed it. Chinese had more of an open-handed system, and they developed very individualistic hand positions to accomplish certain goals on certain targets. These tools were sharpened by forging them, by working the fingertips, the knuckles, the palms, the back of the hand, conditioning the whole hand, using it for gripping strength, for ripping, tearing, seizing. And what they did instead is they closed the fist. And as they did that, they relegated it just to a blunt bludgeon or a stick to strike someone with. And yes, it still works, it's still powerful, it can still cause damage, but it's not as debilitating as a penetrating weapon such as the 6G hands. Now, what we need to do in the martial arts, and this does not just go for karate, this goes for kung fu, it goes for Filipino arts, and any kind of art that you can find, even the jiu-jitsu styles. You need hand tools that are sharpened, that penetrate, so you will use more efficiency and you'll get much more dysfunctional effect on a human body. You can't really reach the nerves by bludgeoning the outside. Yes, you can cause pain, but it's not going to cause that sharp, acute messaging to the brain that shuts systems down. And that's what we've been talking about for a very long time. Now, I don't mean pressure points. I do not believe in pressure points. I believe that those are on fascia and muscle and tendon structures. And yes, again, you can feel pain because your whole body's a nerve receptor. The hairs on your arms are nerve receptors. But what we need to do is get to the major nerves that will send a bigger message, a more acute message to the brain, to cause the brain to dysfunction, because it's trying to offset that acute neurological messaging, and it robs ability for the brain to send the proper messaging to the rest of the muscles, organs, and whatnot. Now, if you strike and you cause that sharp, acute messaging into the brain, and the brain can't, for example, send enough neurotransmission down to the legs to hold the muscles firm until it reads and compensates for that acute message, then the legs collapse with the body weight. And this is what the Kyusho is, and this is what the China hand was all about. And they mapped this out way back in the Shaolin days, and it was probably a lot longer ago. If you talk to some historical pundits, they'll put it back into ancient India with the Kalibrit and that art, and the Marma, and but the Marma, again, they go into the what they call tsubos or gateways as well, but not the pressure point gateways. You're looking for sure neurological targeting, and that's your surest bet, is to work on the nerves, because you get the most instantaneous and dysfunctional results, effects on the opponent. And that's what you need in a conflict, especially if you've got multiple opponents, because you can't be waiting to choke a person out or get them in an arm bar while the other guy is kicking you in the head or the ribs or whatever they're doing to you. So you need a quick, rapid neurological shutdown, and that's what the China hand, the 6G hands, of the ancient ways did for you when matched up with the proper targets and trajectories. Now, when you use a bludgeon and you just hit the outer skin, muscle, skeletal structure, yes, you get pain, but pain is not the limiting factor on an assailant. The adrenaline overrides the pain, so any pain compliance technique it's not going to really work. If you've got a drunk or drugged individual, pain compliance won't work. You have to neurologically shock the body and the brain and the nervous system so that the body doesn't function correctly. And what that will do is it also, at the same time that it robs them physically of their ability to mount an offensive, or even stand for that matter, it also steals their mind, because they're wondering what the hell happened as they're laying on the floor, if they're even conscious. And it also robs their spirit, okay? And that's because their will for fighting, when they are in question of what just happened and they can't even get up, then their will to fight is robbed as well. So you're fighting the whole body, the mind, the body, and the spirit. And that's something that the empty hand has taken away. Yes, some people will cower when they're struck. Some people just get angrier. So the empty hand was to weaken the martial art, let the control stay within the older senseis or the family or the community or whatever or group that they pass this information along to truthfully, and take it from the masses who, of course, were paying their rent and bills and everything of that nature, with their servitude to the sensei, with their compliance, with helping them with raising money to live their lives. And it's a noble profession for sure, but they didn't teach the full aspect of the China hand. They taught the empty hand. And now this was only in the early 1900s, so it's not been for a long period of time, relatively, okay, but it has been being propagated more and more. Every karate school or every martial arts school that grows up and does not teach the proper Kyusho, with the proper tools of the 6G hands, the proper targets of the nerves, and the proper trajectories on how to make them effective, they're just making the situation worse. So hopefully more people pick up on the Kyusho and understand its value. If they're really looking to be a traditional stylist, and then they should get back to the original roots as well. So again, that's another speech on the empty hand, the karate, the China hand transforming into the empty hand. Hope your hands aren't empty.